when you watch AJ play, when you watch AJ play against the Jags last week, did you not go like this? That dude's a mismatch. He is a mismatch. Just keep throwing it to him. All right, let's move on here. I'm kidding around here. All right, let's do this. Has A.J. Brown had more of an impact on the Eagle team than what T.O. had on that 04 Eagle team? A.J., because, hey, watch this. Did T.O. make McNabb better in 04? I'm leaning on you guys. Did he? TV says same level. So far, maybe. Too early to say? No, Anthony says. Stats say yes besides TDs. Joshua, T.O. was, dude, he missed games too, man. He had 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns or some crazy number. He was spectacular that year. I mean, that was the best version of Terrell Owens that in his entire career was that 04 season. I don't care what he says. He was special. Okay? He was special. Jess, you think that T.O. made McNabb better? Incomplete. T.O. broke his leg that year. He did. And he came back for the Super Bowl and was, what did he get? Like 14 catches for like 140 yards in that game too on a bad wheel. T.O. was in his prime. He was awesome that year. I mean, dude, they went to him. They targeted him, and he delivered. Not even close. T.O. was the man. Too bad McNabb was jealous of him. So how are you looking at A.J.? Is A.J. Brown bringing that same kind of impact to the football team? Would we not agree? Check it out. And I'm wrong about this, and I'll agree to this. I'm wrong on this. The impact of him not being in Tennessee, it's noticeable. It is noticeable in Tennessee without him being there. They don't look as physical and they don't look as imposing as they did. Remember something about the Titans. They were the number one seed in the AFC last year. They were imposing of a team. And AJ was part of that, along with Derrick Henry. I know he went out. But there was a sense, and they were imposing when they stepped on the field. Empire says AJ plays very similar to T.O. That's why I brought the topic up, because it reminds me of that. And he actually reminds me a little bit of Michael Irvin, too. AJ is underrated. Eagle, you know why he's underrated? Because his numbers are not spectacular. This year, they are out to a great start. But if you look at his career numbers, they're not overwhelming. Empire, he doesn't have overwhelming stats. Like, you don't see Jamar Chase numbers. There's no 1,500-yard year and 100 catches. The guy's averaged 61 catches a year. It's not like he has like 100-catch year and 1,300 yards. That's why he's underrated, because his stats are underwhelming. He doesn't have great career stats. They're not. When you look at A.J. Brown and watch him play, his stats don't match up to the talent on the field, right? You know how sometimes we talk about Kirk Cousins and you see those big numbers and you watch him play on a Monday night against the Eagles and you go, When you watch A.J. play, and when you watch A.J. play against the Jags last week, did you not go like this? That dude's a mismatch. He is a mismatch. Just keep throwing it to him. But yet, when you look at his career numbers, they're not overwhelming. I mean, there's nothing. If you didn't see the name, you'd go, oh, well, looks like Hunter Renfrow. Actually, Hunter Renfrow's a 100-catch guy. Okay? He's a 100-catch guy. Dude, I don't think A.J. Brown has over 80 catches in his career for a single season. They're not spectacular. Sills, did you hate playing in the cold? I didn't matter that. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. Dude, the incredible heat in Florida was a thing. Dude, I'll tell you where I minded playing, GT, in Denver. When you go up to Denver and play, and you go up to Denver and you play, that's an altitude thing, and that's a real deal. AJ and Metcalf are very comparable. Yeah, when you watch, Metcalf is killing it with Seattle right now. Geno Smith, it's hard to believe. Keith, I get it. He missed some games last year. I understand that. And plus, the offense ran through Derrick Henry. Absolutely true. All of that. But like I said, it's not a diss on AJ, but his numbers aren't spectacular. That's why when the question or someone brought up, when you look at AJ Brown, do you think he's underrated? I go, his numbers make that assumption. But when you watch, like I said, when I watched him play against Detroit and I watched him play versus the Jags this past weekend, he's a mismatch on the field. There is nobody can defend him. Once he catches the ball, dude, you need a really good bunch of tacklers to get him on the ground. He don't go down easy. You know, sometimes guys catch passes and they go down easy. He ain't that guy. He's a bulldog out there. Once he gets that ball, he reminds me, I'll tell you who he plays like, DeAndre Hopkins, but more physical. DeAndre Hopkins catches more third down passes than anybody I've ever seen when he plays. He's just not as big, I don't think, as AJ. AJ's a tank. He's a tank. Okay? I mean, a tank. Like I said, I'm watching him against the Jags, I'm going like this. Damn, that dude can play. I even tweeted it out. AJ Brown's a mismatch, man. And there's no, as a matter of fact, I haven't seen a secondary that has been able to control him. You know who the two toughest guys have been to cover? I'll tell you a guy that's kind of getting swallowed up in all this. Devonta's numbers are down. His catches are down from last year. Okay? Probably because of that goose egg in Detroit. But his catch numbers are down. He's not, Devonta Smith may have less yards and less catches than he did a year ago. That could play out still. Because I'll tell you, the two dudes, dude, every time Dallas Goedert catches the ball, I'm like, that guy jumps over people. He is a tough cover. Man, every time Dallas Goedert gets the ball, I think he's scoring. I do, man. AJ's top 5 right now. We can live with those. Can you live with those results? Yeah, man, because here, this is Xander. AJ's in the top 5 wide receivers right now, though. Can we live with those results? Yeah, absolutely. But, dude, it's not in his numbers. AJ, against the guys in the secondary of the opposing teams he's playing, like, watch this. Will you guys agree? Xander, will you agree with this? Results for Devonta. Here, let me tie it in. If Devonta's numbers are down, catch-wise, okay, still got some numbers up there. He's kind of right where he was a year ago in yards. No, I'm not. And by the way, it's 4 games. I'm not fretting over anything with him. He's a great route runner, one of the best in the game. There's no diss here. But you know those numbers that you talked to me about Kirk Cousins? When Cousins gets like 355 yards and they lose, he has to get 3 touchdowns, got a great completion percentage, or even like Carson Wentz. When AJ Brown gets 90 yards, they're 90 big yards. Third down, carrying guys, red zone. How many wide receivers have you seen? Tim Brown was a great example of this. Tim Brown had more 100-yard football games and meaningless football games than anybody I ever saw in my career covering the sport. Do you ever remember Tim Brown? And he's a Hall of Fame guy, being a significant offensive weapon for the Raiders. Name me one game that you went, wow, he was unbelievable. They were like all shitty numbers. on shitty football teams. They were like nothing numbers. They were nothing numbers. And he made it to the Hall of Fame because Tim Brown, Notre Dame, whatever, Raiders, which shocked me he got in. But when I look at Tim Brown and go, A.J. Brown is superior to Tim Brown. Okay? Superior. Who would you take, Sills? Tim Brown, the Hall of Fame wideout for the Raiders? Or would you take A.J. Brown? You give me A.J. Brown all night long. I'll take that dude. That dude's a weapon. He's hard to get on the ground. Like that guy, like I said, the yards he had against the Jags last week, dude, those were man yards. How many times did you see two dudes on him trying to get him on the ground last week in the rain? Tim Brown was the man on kickoff returns. For what Raider team do you remember he was significant in? I don't ever remember Tim Brown playing on a good Raider team. What, the Tuck game? Maybe. I think they made it to one AFC championship game when Howie was playing. Dude, he played on some dog shit Raider teams. I don't remember him ever being significant in anything. Those were all Kirk Cousin numbers. Sills, did you take AJ or Debo? I'll take Debo because he does more. Now, that's not AJ's fault. Kyle Shanahan puts Debo in more of a position of need on that offense. So Debo does more in that offense. Hard to say. Okay? Hey, by the way, it's close. It's close. Okay? And dude, when you're being compared to Debo Samuel or you're being compared to A.J. Brown, dude, you're in a really rare conversation of guys who are playmakers. A.J. Brown's a playmaker. Okay? Hunter Renfro's not. When you see guys with all these big numbers, watch this. Stephon Diggs is a playmaker. He's a playmaking wideout. T. Higgins, he gets those numbers because of Jamarcus Chase and because of Burrow. T. Higgins? Really? Randall Cobb? Those guys aren't playmakers. A.J. Brown's a playmaker. He's a difference changer. Dude, I swear. Go back on my Twitter feed. I'm like, this guy's unguardable, man. You can't guard that guy. And he carries dudes with him. He's really like Michael Irvin. You know, the only guy that ever gave Michael Irvin a lot of trouble was Aeneas Williams from the Cardinals because he was physical on Mike. Okay, he was physical on him. Eric Allen a little bit too, but not as much as Aeneas. Aeneas Williams used to put the clamps on him because he's a big dude. 21 to 25 AJ catches have gone for 10-plus yards and yak. Man, and he carries guys. Okay? And he carries dudes. Xander, do any elite quarterbacks look like they may take a step back this year? Some look shaky. I think Trevor Lawrence is taking a step forward. Jalen has made the most from a year ago for a young quarterback. Jalen has taken the biggest leap of anybody. Watch this. I'll say something to you guys, and I believe this. Has Jalen Hurts made a bigger leap in his second year of starting than what Josh Allen did in Buffalo? Yes. Now, it's a different way of looking at it, though. Allen is a better passer. Jalen is winning games because he's thinking himself through the game and he sees the game slower. He wins differently than Josh. So it's a different way and a different way to get to Z. Everyone's got their own yellow brick road, how they get to a win and how they win ball games. I told you, just like the comparison in golfers. Jim Furyk had the shittiest swing of all time. He still won major championships. Okay? I mean, John Daly, whatever you thought of him, he still won major championships in his own way and not like Tiger or Phil. Everyone's got their own swing on how they're going to win. And Jalen's got his own swing on how he wins. He doesn't win like Josh Allen. He's not going to win like Joe Burrow. That's why I said when I started my show last hour, I think the Eagles are still trying to figure out what that identity is of him.